If you look at the long history of games, you can find some interesting threads. One of them is the story of Apex Legends. It's pretty interesting to see how we went all the way from this to this in just a few game generations. My goal is to do the story justice. In this video, the history of Apex Legends. A good starting point for the story of Apex Legends is 1998, believe it or not, with the hit movie Saving Private Ryan. It started a World War II cultural craze, in a sense, that went beyond film. The director, Steven Spielberg, apparently he saw his son playing the first-person shooter Goldeneye 64, and he got the video game arm of his film studio, DreamWorks, to work. And a year later, in 1999, they pumped out Medal of Honor. They made a couple of games and then passed the torch to a different studio called 2015, who worked on a new title called Medal of Honor Allied Assault. And this game is essentially the great-grandparent of Apex Legends. It led to a chain of development cycles with many twists and turns along the way that eventually led to the game this video is all about. Directly after Allied Assault was released, 3 key people left 2015 because they wanted more creative control. Jason West, Grant Collier, and Vince Zampella. They founded a new studio called Infinity Ward and brought with them a bunch of developers who worked on Allied Assault. They came up with a new World War II IP called Call of Duty and released it in 2003. It started a whole new series that we all know and love, and they just kept pumping out awesome games. In 2005, they helped launch the Xbox 360 with another hit, Call of Duty 2. And they ditched World War II in 2007 with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So they were at the top of their game. But this level of success can breed tension, and oh, it did. There was a situation that ultimately led to the founding of Respawn Entertainment, the studio behind Apex Legends. Basically, the short version is that 2 of the top developers of Call of Duty, West and Zampella, were promised by Activision money and creative control in return for more Call of Duty games. That is, unless they were fired. And you can guess what happens next. They pump out another Call of Duty game that was another massive hit, and then they were quickly canned. A bunch of lawsuits happened, but like I said, West, Zampella and a bunch of defected Infinity Ward developers created the new studio called Respawn. They were done with Medal of Honor, done with Call of Duty. They needed something new. They came up with a new IP, launched yet another successful series, and this one is the one that Apex Legends is a part of. So it starts in 2014 with Titanfall, which is a multiplayer-only game where players control mechs called Titans. They quickly worked on a sequel, but they sandwiched the release date between the latest Battlefield and Call of Duty games in 2016. So it was doomed in a way. And around this time, Fortnite Battle Royale was released. You might have heard of this game. It popularized a new game mode and brought it to the mainstream. Users are basically dropped into a world Hunger Games style and attempt to collect weapons and resources in order to be the last left standing. Back at Respawn, EA acquires them around this time, and now the developers have a sense of stability, and they have room to experiment. This is where the birth of Apex Legends happens. The rumor is that they started working on Titanfall 3 with a Battle Royale mode, but quickly found that the mode itself was worthy of a game itself. By 2018, the entire Titanfall team, and then some, was working on this secret project to be set in the fictional Titanfall world, where Battle Royale is a sort of sport in an area called the Outlands. The developers tried to keep things from the Titanfall series like wall running and mechs, but found that it threw off the balance for Battle Royale, so they ditched it. By early 2019, they were ready. There was a leak a year earlier that almost spoiled the project, but people thought they were working on Titanfall 3. In fact, they were about to release a hero shooter like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch, or even Super Mario Bros. 2 if you really think about it. The player can select a character, in this case it's called the Legend, who has unique abilities. In addition to this idea, it was also, like I said, going to be a Battle Royale game, complete with a shrinking game map and a bunch of 3-man squads competing to be the last ones left. Respawn took the liberty of adding unique touches to the genre, like their own form of fatalities. They had a pretty brilliant communication system they included, and of course an arsenal of weapons and abilities from Titanfall. For marketing the game, they basically decided not to. They feared potential backlash from Titanfall fans, and rather than have them debate the game, they said, let's just put it in their hands and let them judge it by itself. Before they did that, though, they gathered a bunch of social media influencers to try and create buzz about the game a few days before its release. And it was released on February 4th, 2019, and is immediately available as a free-to-play game on the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Within hours of the release, they had over 2.5 million unique users, and a month later, they were up to around 100 million users. So it was a very, very quick growth. It entered the record books by getting the highest revenue of any free-to-play game in its first month. The honeymoon period didn't last forever. Eventually, there were controversies about hitbox balancing. Later, there was a pricey transaction model that they had, but Respawn was pretty good about responding to these issues, and all the while delivering a steady stream of new weapons, maps, and legends. It originally launched with the one map, Kings Canyon, and 8 legends. In Season 1, there was Mirage, Pathfinder, Caustic, Wraith, Lifeline, Gibraltar, Bangalore, and Bloodhound. Each of them have their own unique abilities. Later that year, they released Octane and Watson, and also a ranked mode, a global esports series, and it really hasn't stopped. In 2020, Crypto and Revenant were added to the roster, even though there was a fake situation where he quote-unquote killed the announced legend at the time, but that was just Respawn trolling everyone. Also in 2020, they had Loba, Rampart, and a new 3v3 mode called Arenas. All of this, and I haven't even mentioned all of the cosmetic options, which there are many. Really, it's the bread and butter of the game, allowing it to surpass the $100 billion mark in 2021. And that year we got Horizon, Fuse, Valkyrie, and Seer, as well as a version on the Nintendo Switch. Not long after this, however, the backlash they were trying to avoid from the Titanfall fans kind of came to the forefront in a way, because there was a major hack of the game in July where a bunch of hackers were trying to quote-unquote save Titanfall, but ultimately their efforts didn't really change anything. And that pretty much brings us up to today. As of this recording in early 2022, we're in Season 11. They just released Ash, and supposedly there's going to be a mobile version of the game later this year, but that remains to be seen. And there's still not Titans in the game, but I think at some point they're going to make a comeback. But anyway, looking back, I'm very fascinated by all the twists and turns and passing of torches that led to this massive game in the first place. And out of the original 3 founders of Infinity Ward, only Vince Zampella is carrying the torch at Respawn. I wanted to take a moment just to point out a few specific developers of Apex Legends who also literally were on the team that made Allied Assault back in the day. There's Brad Allen, Eric Kraber, Todd Alderman, Earl Hammond Jr., and Preston Glenn. Kudos. If you haven't figured it out, I really love this game. I can't get enough of it. This is kind of a tribute to the game itself, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking the video and maybe subscribing if you want to see what's next on the channel, because I got a lot of ideas. But either way, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.